Well, hi, everybody. Doug Miles along with Don Henderson. Today we're at Ed Smith Stadium, Don, as we get to pick up our spring training credentials for the Baltimore Orioles. And a beautiful day for baseball. The pitchers and catchers are here right now.
Well, I'll tell you, Doug, it's great to see baseball starting again and great to be here at Ed Smith Stadium. We didn't make many games last year because of the COVID. Obviously, everybody was in the same boat. But now we've got full credentials for all the Baltimore games, and we're ready to go.
Pitchers and catchers, as we mentioned, but a few of the regular position players are here right now. They will make the full reporting, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. So full spring training will be in effect next week. And the first game is next Saturday, the 25th, right here against the Minnesota Twins.
And we'll be right here.
We'll be here to see it. But we'll start off a sad note, Don, a man we got to know quite well here in Sarasota from having him on our radio show. Of course, you knew him very well with the Phillies broadcast. The great Tim McCarver passed away this week.
Yeah, 81 years of age. Lived here in Siesta Key for a great number of years, as well as in Memphis, Tennessee, where he grew up. And in fact, the ballpark, if I remember correctly, in Memphis is named after after McCarver. So anyway, to make a long story short, a great guy, a great broadcaster, all the networks, ABC, NBC, Fox. He did all World Series games, had great credentials for all baseball, and worked with the Yankees, with the Mets, and just a terrific guy as well as a great player.
Yeah, heart failure was the cause of
Yes.
death. Died in Memphis, Tennessee, where he grew up with his family. So still a surprise, though, because we had not heard if he had been ill or not. We saw him about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. You did a nice interview with him right here at Ed Smith from the dugout.
Yeah, not only that, but I was a little surprised because I had talked to him just after I came back from Christmas vacation, and I did not know he was that ill. And in fact, I didn't know anything until yesterday when they called and said he had passed away, 2 days ago when they said he had passed away. But terrific guy, lived here for a long time, and was a great guy to talk baseball with.
One of the great defensive catchers, obviously with those great Cardinal teams
Yes.
of the mid-'60s, won the World Series in 64, 67, also appeared in the 68 World Series. So great teams back then.
Yeah, hit 271, and the record that he was most proud of, he has the all-time record for triples for a catcher.
Right.
And he loved to tell you about that all-time record of triples. He loved that statistic.
Of course, he and Bob Gibson was one of the great batteries of all time, and I guess McCarver was one of the few catchers that really, he worked well with Gibson. Gibson was tough.
Yeah, he was tough, and they keep telling the story when he came out to the mound. Gibson said, but you can't hit, so come out here and tell us about pitching. And they had a great rapport. In fact, Steve Carlton and Bob Gibson, last time I talked with Tim a while back, he said they were his closest friends.
Yeah.
And he also said, it was in many of the articles that were written the last couple of days, that Steve Carlton alone kept him in the major leagues for an extra 2 or 3 years because he was his designated catcher.
Became his really personal catcher.
Yeah, he was almost, and there was a lot of conflict there with Bob Boone at the time. Bob was the primary catcher for the Phillies, and a little bit of a hassle between that, but it was Steve Carlton and Tim McCarver. They were the team that caught most, and the same with Bob Gibson. He was Bob Gibson's catcher as well.
Of course, you got to know Tim quite well, not only as a player, but with the Phillies broadcast. That's where Tim got started in the booth, right?
That's where he started, in Philadelphia, and as soon as he retired, was a great card player as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His group...
Poker or bridge, or what was it?
Bridge.
Bridge?
Yeah, they played in the clubhouse almost every day. They would play bridge in the clubhouse. And they also had the great show that most of the people here in Sarasota would see after the 11 o'clock news on Channel 7. He did that syndicated show for a great number of years.
The talk show, yeah. Very good show.
After he retired. And so people got to see him a lot down here with interviews with some of the top celebrities in not only baseball, but all sports.
Yeah, I think he became one of the best color announcers, obviously. I think I would say Tony Kubek was probably the first of the great color broadcasters when he did the old Game of the Week with Kurt Gowdy, and then I think McCarver kind of took it to the next level.
Yes, he did for a long time. I think 23, something like that, 23 World Series and All-Star games and so forth. Just a terrific guy, a terrific contribution to baseball as a player and as broadcaster, as you said. And even did the Winter Olympics for CBS.
CBS one year.
One year. So he was very versatile. He could do any number of things.
Yeah, we had him on, as you said, local radio. A couple of stations we were on down here had him on when he had a book out, and then later on he actually put a CD out of kind of Frank Sinatra songs. So we had some fun with him that day.
Yeah, and with Donnie G, we used to do the show.
TV
they don't
show,
do
right?
it any longer. The Comcast show here in Sarasota on Channel 19, and we would do it every Wednesday night. And Tim and Jeff Torborg and a number of the players that live in this particular area would come in and do the show with Donnie G, and it was a lot of fun. Tim would always come in and do one or two shows every spring.
Best part about that show is we didn't get paid money, but we got a free dinner afterward.
Yeah,
Patrick's.
Patrick's dinner. That was the paycheck.
That was the paycheck.
That was the
it was a lot of fun those years.
Yeah,
doing those shows. But God bless Tim. I mean, I'm glad that I got to know him a little bit. Obviously, you knew him more as a close friend. But one of the great things about doing this kind of work, you get to meet interesting people, and particularly living here in Sarasota, a lot of these people, if they don't live here year round, they stay here quite a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna. In fact, Doug Fernandez just had a terrific piece in the paper about a week ago. All the great players that have come down during spring training or for other reasons, and then moved down here and stayed here permanently for almost their entire lives until they passed away. And Tim was one of those. He loved Sarasota. He loved the ballpark. He loved the people, and was a great guy to be with. And we're going to dig in the archives to see if we could find a couple of those interviews that we did with him and maybe put it up on YouTube or something else.
Yeah, we'll do that. And of course, the ones that we've done previously are on our YouTube channel. Just go to the Doug Miles Media channel. They're up there. But we'll put up another one together if we can. But we remember Tim, and of course, we didn't get a chance to talk about it last time we did this, but great hockey player, Bobby Hull, passed away about 2 weeks ago. He had a bit of a Sarasota connection. He actually lived here part of the year for several years.
I did not know
Hull.
that.
Yeah,
but what a great player, and maybe not the friendliest guy at times, but
a little bit of controversial guy, I guess.
Yes, very controversial, but
a great dynamic.
Great player, and he was with some of the great teams of all time in the National Hockey League. And he played like 20 or 20.
Played 15 for the Blackhawks and another 6, 7, 8, I guess 7 or 8 years with the WHA, the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
And won a bunch of their championships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, you got to give him credit almost for NHL players should give him a piece of their salary because by him going to the WHA, remember he got that $1 million contract.
Right.
That league became viable, and then those 4 teams that were eventually absorbed caused the salaries to go up. So you got to give him credit for really the NHL for, at least if you're a player, for increasing the salaries.
Everybody's making more money.
That's it. But
can't beat that.
One of the great slap shots of all time.
Yeah.
Which you don't see much anymore, the slap shot. But he made a career out of that.
I tell you, the game has changed like all the other games.
Yeah.
It's a different sport. It's much faster. Much more offensive-minded. We, of course, see it so much with the Lightning here in Sarasota. Right now, they're fighting for second place in their division as they get ready to go into the playoffs again and try to get back into the finals or win the Stanley Cup again, which is quite a feat over the last 4 years.
Nearly won 3 cups in a row until last year when they lost in the finals.
Yeah.
So, there's a dynasty going on in Tampa Bay. Maybe you haven't heard about it because it doesn't get the press like it would when the Islanders are winning 4 in a row or the Canadians, but Lightning have got that going.
Well, the Islanders and the Rangers are coming up this year. They're playing much better and should be a great playoff all the way through, and also have to commend, you and I do it every once in a while, and maybe not often enough, but Mr. Vanek gave $1 million to cancer for
the Dickie Vitale Gala, right?
Dick Vitale's cancer dinner, and
which is right here in Sarasota for people not aware.
But nobody is more conscious of public relations than Vanek. I mean, he gives $50,000 away at every game. Mm-hmm. He gives. It's amazing what he does for the community. And now, as I said, $1 million he gave to Dickie V for the Dickie V Fund. Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe we can get him on, or at least we'll talk about the gala, which usually is in May every year, right here in Sarasota. Raises money for cancer research.
Exactly.
So we'll do that. We'll wrap up again. Another sad situation, not a sports star necessarily, but one of the great icons of acting and culture. Raquel Welch died this week. That was kind of sad to see. Yeah. Always liked her.
Yeah.
Who didn't like her?
Everybody loved that. And she had a 30-year career, made 30 movies. I didn't realize she had made that many movies. But and as you indicated, and I have to agree, I only saw her at the end of her career when she did some of the little walk-on kinds of things. And
Seinfeld.
But she made 30 movies, but she made shows like Steinfeld, and she still looked awfully good, even at 75, 78 years old. And she died, I think it was 81. I'm almost sure it was 81.
Right, yeah. Great, iconic actress. And I remember kind of a sports-related movie I remember seeing as a kid, Kansas City Bomber. She played a roller derby
Is that right?
Remember roller derby?
Yeah, I remember Tuffy Berzoon. Tuffy Berzoon, I remember it. That's a long time ago, my boy.
That's it. So remember Raquel Welch. But we'll wrap it up with that as we'll be here for the next 4 or 5 weeks in Sarasota, kind of seeing what's going on with baseball. Hopefully we'll get up to see the Yankees up in Tampa and maybe the Pirates over in Bradenton. We'll see if they let us in, but if not, we'll be here in Sarasota.
Take care, partner. We'll do it all over again.
Thanks for watching, everybody.